All right, good morning, almost afternoon. A special edition of Catching Up with Tommy Mac here inside the 1010XL podcast studios. Of course, on 1010XL.com. Eventually, we'll be on YouTube, and we are live on Facebook. Catching Up with Tommy Mac, brought to you by Team Tommy Mac. You see Code Ninjas on the chest. 5 great locations. Get them in summer camp. They're a week long. You're going to love it. They're going to love it. They're going to learn all types of technology, all types of things when it comes to security and Roblox and Minecraft. They're going to build games. They're going to have so much fun and learn so much. And then they're also going to throw them outside. Not throw them, but take them outside, run around, do some exercise and activities. So get in the all-around camp at Code Ninjas, codeninjas.com. I'll talk about the rest of the team a little bit later on. Breaking news in the National Football League with a trade. Talk about that in just a second. Going to get into Trevor Lawrence a little bit. This won't be a very long show, I don't think. You never know once you get going and rambling. But I'm going to be traveling tomorrow and out most of the week, although I'll be doing something from up there. I'll video something. I'm going to look forward to that and go check out my youngest lioness compete in her national dance competition, her solo. Going to be awesome. Going to see my number 2 up there working for the company that puts on this competition. My wife's already up there. And me and my oldest are flying up tomorrow. So looking forward to that. And we'll be at Wrigley Field on 4th of July, man. Can't wait. Going to be an awesome time. And figured I'd jump on and say hello. Didn't know the breaking news, but pretty interesting. The Miami Dolphins trade Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith to Pittsburgh for Minkah Fitzpatrick and a draft pick to be named at a later time. How about that? Ramsey and Jonnu for Minkah. Minkah Fitzpatrick is one of the best safeties in the game. There's no doubt. You know, he is. Derwin James, Minkah Fitzpatrick. These guys, they're ballers, man. He's a big-time baller. Jonnu Smith just got to Miami, didn't he? Like maybe this offseason or maybe a year ago. And then Ramsey, look, he could still, he plays at a high level. If I'm Miami, I'm kind of happy with this, depending on what that pick is. But unless Pittsburgh feels like Ramsey's going to play safety. I wonder what he is going to play up there. But nonetheless, Pittsburgh Steelers gain Jalen Ramsey and tight end Jonnu Smith. And the Dolphins get Minkah Fitzpatrick and a additional pick. Man, I sure hope our safeties really turn out. You know what I mean? I mean, that's one of my not even concerns, but questions going into camp is who are my starting safeties? Is it Murray? Is it Dewey Wingard? Who is it? Is it Ranshaw, the young kid? How's Antonio Johnson? What is going to happen with Antonio Johnson? It's going to be good. That's going to be a room that's going to be very exciting to watch. Did want to get into some remarks because I saw it on Twitter, and I don't, no disrespect to a guy named Marcus Whitman. He's called the franchise guy. He does these dives into teams and I don't know, just an analyst who's looking at different things. So I did listen to it yesterday. It was brought to my attention. And, look, he said some things, that, Trevor, he's not lazy, he works hard, he just does the bare minimum to get by. I don't know about that. I've never been told in that kind of language. But I have been told, and me and some counterparts have been told from people inside, that there was a concern about the lack of, going home. When you go home, look, you got to spend time with your wife, your now kid, do whatever else, get some free time. But, man, as a quarterback, you got to really, really study. I mean, you do. And look, I heard that more than 1 year. It's not like new. It's been a couple years. I heard way back, well, not way back. Well, it's year 5. In the early days of him being the starting QB, that they were concerned with the Instagram from Marissa's wife, and he's too involved. It's a distraction and all this stuff. look, I don't really care, but that was then and this is now. But it was legit. I mean, we had heard that, and it made sense because he was making the same mistakes. The team was making the same mistake. It was all over the place, you know. But again, that moving forward, I don't really care because Liam's not going to allow it. They're not going to allow it. I don't think they're going to allow it. I think they're going to hold him accountable to that. And you do. And look, I know everyone goes back to when, was it before he was drafted or after he was drafted? He's like, look, you know, football's not number one. It doesn't have to be number one as far as, you know, family and faith, but everything else has got to be number one. And look, especially quarterback, you got to put in so much extra time, ridiculous amounts of time. And most of it's mental. Most of it's, you know, watching film, getting on the same page with your receivers, pre-snap reads, all that stuff. You know, where on Sunday it comes easy for you. And, you know, that, and then look, maybe having a family, I've told you how I felt. I wish I could have played for my family. It'd have been a lot different. Hey, I wouldn't have gone out so much, but even more than that, it would have been a lot different, right? It would have maybe even meant, not maybe, it would have meant even more to me, you know, to be able to go out there or come into work and really work to get better, not just for me, but for my children and my wife, you know, and our family. So that's got to change. It changes all of us, doesn't it? When you've had children, it does. It changes perspective. It changes a lot of things. And, you know, hopefully for, Trevor's sake, you know, that clicks for him too, because it's his time to really be that guy. It's his time to be that stud QB week in and week out. Not flashes. We know he's got the goods. We know he does. We've seen it. We've seen the arm. We've seen everything. You know, we've seen the good. We've seen the bad. The not so good. Nothing's been terrible. I think for me, the biggest things for me is when, you know, it's a routine play and he has time and he just misses it. You know, especially when it's third down and they need the first down. Now, does it happen all the time? No, it doesn't. But it happens enough where you're like, oh, come on, Trev, you got to hit that one. You know, or, you know, an out pattern, it just goes flying over their head. It's nowhere near them. And then he'll make this incredible throw on the run or, you know, deep down the field in a pocket. And you're like, gosh, that's just a phenomenal play. You know, so... But I think with Liam Cohen and how he's running things, and I'm only going by what I've heard already with the footwork and then what Liam said, you know, about other players, you know, like Anton. Well, when he wants to, he can be, you know, really good. What about Bayashul Tootin the first day? Well, he put the ball on the ground, you know, so he's not afraid, it's not the right word, but he's going to make sure these guys are accountable. And the quarterback definitely has to be held accountable. So those are the one thing with Trevor for me is, yes, makes great throws and great plays. And then there's routine ones and just misses. The other one is when it's third down and we need a first down and he goes for the big play and he misses the guys that are underneath. Now, look, again, this doesn't happen all the time, but it happens enough where that's got to be more consistent, right? He's got to play more consistent. Now, I think you got to get him in a rhythm. And I don't mean just a throwing rhythm. I mean a playmaking rhythm. I love when Trevor takes off and uses his legs. I do. I love it when Mahomes does it. I love it when Jalen Hurts does it. I love it when Josh Allen. It's great. Baker, all of them. I don't care who it is, but it does. And I know as a defender, that puts a dagger in you big time, man. Especially your conditioning. You're like, oh, gosh, here I am. I'm in coverage. We got them all locked down. And next thing you know, here comes this guy that can, you know, run fast enough. He's big enough to take a hit. He's going to make a play with his feet and get in the rhythm. Now, that, you know, last time he did that, he got his clock cleaned. He didn't look. I know it was a legal hit, but he's got to get down. His whole upper body was straight up and down. I know you're supposed to be protected, but you're not always. He's got to make sure he's protected. I'm going head first. Screw this. I mean, sometimes you got to slide, so I shouldn't say that. But when there's a guy there, I don't know. Maybe make a move and dive to the left or away from him. I don't know. It happens so darn fast. There's no doubt about that. But I'm not going to let that deter. I want him to take off. I do. Things break down. There's nothing there. You flooded them out because it's man and they've all taken off with their routes. Boom, go. They're not spying Trevor. Maybe they'll have to if he does all this stuff, but I'm not expecting it to take over his play on the field. I've looked at Trevor, even young. Like I'm waiting for that Josh Allen trajectory. That's got to come. Like it's time for that to come. He's got those kind of tools. Now, he's not as big as Josh. Trevor's shoulders are kind of narrow. He's not like a broad-shouldered, beast of a guy. He's a big guy, obviously. He's 6'6" and 230 or whatever he is. So he's not small. I don't mean it like that. But he's just built a little bit different. Josh Allen walks in. He looks like a, outside linebacker playing quarterback. He's just a bigger type guy. I've seen Mahomes in person. Mahomes ain't really wide shouldered, but he's a pretty big dude at 6'3". He was taller than me. Not that I'm that tall, but he was pretty thick guy. But I want to see that, and of course, we gotta relieve Trevor of whatever mental blocks he may or may not have down the field. Again, I've said this for a long time. In between the numbers, I don't care short or deep or in between, Trevor's normally spot on. I mean, go back and look at the throws where he is really good. I'm not saying he doesn't do that on the outside of the numbers, but on outside he's about 50-50 in that area. But in between the numbers, he is absolutely spectacular. And he's got a lot of confidence, you can tell. So he's got to make sure that, I don't know, you got him better on the outside, make that 75% and even better on the inside. So it's taking what they give you. That's a big one. And, it's knowing where you're at on the field. A little bit more awareness. He throws that pick to the backside safety once every so often. And the safeties know it. They know it. They're trying to bait him, right? So it's going to be a big year for Trevor. I don't want to hear new coach. I don't want to hear new system. He's a grown man. He's a big boy. He's great for the franchise. I've always liked Trevor as a representative of our team, of the organization, of the city. He is a tough kid, and we love that. But you heard the rumblings about that. So this guy Marcus Whitman, I didn't agree with everything he said, but a lot of it was kind of spot on. It's just not been good enough and not consistent enough. But you could say that about the whole team. You could. You could say that about the whole team, about a lot of positions being consistent. Brian Thomas Jr. was consistent. Absolutely. I can't wait to see him again. We talked about that last time. But that's going to be, I know they're all training in the Bahamas. Go deep. I mean, I'm sure they're whipping it around and having a good time. They should. Listen, it's a grind when you come to camp. So go have your fun. Stay in some condition. Stay in a little bit of shape. You don't have to be in tip-top. Not yet. You got to, after the 4th, after maybe a week after the 4th, you better make sure you're in good condition. I always took like a couple days off before I had to report. One, because if you had to run the conditioning tests, which kept you up at night, I don't care what level of football you're talking about, conditioning tests suck. They were just awful. What did we have to, at Boston College, we had this thing called the Patriot Run. It was, you'd go you'd start at the end line, you'd go to the 10, back, 25, back, 45, whatever, back, bang. You had to make certain time. I mean, it was just brutal. And the Jags, we had to do the the shuttles, the 60-yard shuttles. So 5 of them, 4 times. You had to do them back to back. You had like 30 seconds rest, maybe 60 seconds rest in between. You know, the legs get filled up with the lactic acid. You can't freaking breathe. You're pissed off because you got to do it, you know. But, yeah, they better, you know, obviously they're going to have some fun, and then they got to come in camp. And I hope it's a really demanding camp. I think it needs to be. First-year coach has got to set the tone. And, man, I hope they condition. I hope they condition every day, almost every day. You got to give them a little break here and there. I hope they're physical. Baselli says they're going to be as physical as the league will allow them to be. You know, and I hope they're just held accountable. I'm telling you, it's the attitude. It is, you know. And you hear these things, like you heard about Anton from Liam. You know, I've heard that about Trevor from other people. Hey, when he wants to, he can be good. You know, it's got to want that. And look, I mean, the kid's been paid. He's going to go into, he's got 1 more year, and then it goes into the big money. And, you know, whether he does it or not. But he's got to find it within himself to, man, that's how you want to be remembered, man. Nobody's going to give a crap how much money you made. Most people, some will, because they'll kiss your ass forever. You see that all over the place in all walks of life. You know, the ones who have money, people kiss their butt, whatever. But former players aren't. They're going to be like, what, you know, and the alumni, when you walk in, we're not going to care that you were the #1 pick overall. We're not going to care that they paid you whatever they paid you. All we're going to care about is, you know, Super Bowls and how good you were and all that. So I've said that before, right? The Hall of Famers trump everybody. The Super Bowl players trump everybody. Then all Pro Bowl, you know. Goes down the list as to who's the popular one in the room. But guess what? Nobody talks about, well, how much money did you make? Oh, man, you made a ton of money. Oh, but they may do it a little bit on their own, but nobody gives a crap. It's all about what you've done on the field. And we know how, you know, quarterbacks are judged. How are quarterbacks judged? We're not, by the way, I know LeBron wants to change that in the NBA, how he's judged, but whatever. We're not changing that in the NFL, right? Quarterbacks are what? They're judged by what? Championships. Fair or not, right? And then you'll have the Dan Marinos of the world. Well, he didn't win a championship, but man, he was one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game, and he was, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Marino was just absolutely incredible. But that's how you're judged in that limelight, right? Aren't you? What are baseball players judged? Are they like Jeter? Is it all World Series? Is it all stat? I think with baseball, it's probably more stats than anything, because you don't have to be on a championship team to make it, right? I know you don't with the NFL, but it's easier if you do, right? You get more Pro Bowls, you get more All Pros when you win, at least Pro Bowls. But you know how I feel about that. But yeah, this is a big year for Trevor. I hope he does it. I really do, man. I want nothing but this team to win and the city to rock. It's going to be hopefully a really, really good year, because I know how we all feel about it down here in Jacksonville. They are the heartbeat for a lot of us. Not all of us, but for a lot of us, they are the heartbeat. So let's hopefully we can get a good team out there and win a bunch of games, man. No question about it. So we're headed to Chicago tomorrow. I said earlier, my wife and 2 of my girls are up there. Me and the oldest are going up for the week. 4th of July. They're racing in downtown Chicago. How about that? NASCAR in downtown Chi-Town. That should be fun to check out. See if my buddy Southside Joey can hook us up. He's a good man. Whenever you're in Chicago, you call my friend Joey. Well, you can't, but I do. I call Joey. Joey knows Chicago like nobody else. All the good spots, knows all the people. Just a great, great individual. Can get you any kind of tickets, whatever. So we're going to go do that. We're going to go see Wrigley Field. My wife walked by Soldiers Field just the other day. She thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, we're going to do that. I'll be reporting live up there. I'll do a little bit of here and there. And, of course, in the meantime, make sure you check out Team Tommy Mac. Always there when you need them, whether you need flooring, getting out of jail. You need an attorney when you get hurt, right? You need a camp to get your kids into. You need the best sausage in town. You need get out of here. In the business, in Freedom Finance, the best hot sauces, Coconut Joe's. I shared that QR code. Make sure you click on that. It'll take you right to the landing page and put pound Team Tommy Mac in the discount code bar and get BOGO free. The #1 commercial real estate firm in the land. Yeah, Newmark Phoenix Realty Group, 399-5222 or phoenixrealty.net. They're the best. All aspects of commercial real estate, they take care of it. They got integrity. You trust them. They're the best people. Make sure you give them a shot. No doubt about that. Salt Air Inn and Suites, awesome boutique hotel right off the beach. Man, I just hooked up a friend of mine that's going to stay there for a few days after the 4th. That's coming in town. And you'll get great rates too. Make sure you mention Team Tommy Mac. Visit saltair.com. And last but not least, J-Dog Junk Removal. Don't forget my boys, J-Dog, veteran owned and operated. They'll come pick up your junk. They'll pick up whatever you want. You want to redo your home, you're moving out, whatever the case may be. They'll come gather it all up, clean it up for you, make it sure it's nice and spotless, and then they'll fix up the appliances or the couches, whatever, furniture, and give to veteran families in need. Check them out at jdog.com. All right, that'll do it for me today. A quick one today. In all full transparency, this is my lifeline right here. I write everything down. I got like 3 of these at home, but I left it here, so I had to come in anyway, and I figured I'd drop in, say hello, and wish you a great week. Wish you a great 4th of July, but you'll hear from me live on Facebook from Chicago later on in the week. Hope you all have an awesome day, and we'll see you next time right here on Catching Up with Tommy Mac. Peace and love, everybody. Have a good one. Hey, Tom McManus here with the Catching Up with Tommy Mac podcast on the 1010XL podcast platform. Catch it on the 1010XL app. Catch it on 1010XL.com. You can also catch it on the 1010XL Jaguars channel on YouTube. Hey, man, it's always straight from the heart, straight from the gut, all ball, all Jags, all NFL coming your way each and every week, twice a week on Catching Up with Tommy Mac. We'll see you there.